Hi, I'm Brent Lyles with Chicken Hill Solutions and NYOS Charter School. I am back with the next installment in our series of short videos on how to write a grant. Now, you may remember our four-step process. First of all is planning that program in great detail. Second is doing some research to find out what are the grant opportunities that are a great fit. Writing the proposal itself. And then once you find out whether you got it, doing the follow-up. Today we're going to look at that third step in the process. Actually writing. How do you write a grant proposal? First off, follow the directions. Now that may sound silly, but you would not believe how many people get tripped up because they haven't submitted the right attachments or they haven't answered all of the questions fully. It is so important to read through all of the instructions in great detail and make sure you're doing everything exactly the way they say. If you're someone like me that likes to obsess about the details, man, this is the time to let that flag fly high. Oftentimes when you are applying for a grant, it is an online application. So you'll go to the Foundation's website, it'll say, click here to apply, and it'll take you to an online form. What I would strongly recommend is that you create a Microsoft Word document off to the side where you compose those answers and then copy and paste them into the online form. There's a couple reasons for that. First of all, you don't want to be composing live in that online form. All of a sudden your Wi-Fi goes out and you lose everything you've done. That has happened to me. Please don't let it happen to you. The next reason is that there are some really powerful tools within Microsoft Word that you can use on your grant applications. I use Google Docs all the time, but the tools that are available within Word are a little bit more sophisticated. Let me give you an example. In those online forms, often they will say, answer this question, you have 1,000 characters to do it. Now, that's kind of hard to do sometimes because you've got a lot to say and you got to squeeze it in. So you're going to need to do some editing. Within Microsoft Word, there's a tool called Word Count. Now pretend this is your computer screen. You've brought up your document within Microsoft Word. You highlight the answer, a paragraph or two, the answer to that question you're working on, and you go down here where this red arrow is, and you'll see something that says 150 words. You click on it, and it pulls up a little window. And that window will give you the exact character count of what you highlighted. It's super useful when you're needing to create an answer that has a specific limit on how much you can say. Another thing that's super helpful in Microsoft Word is the track changes function. Now you should always be having somebody read your writing after you've written it, just to make sure you're as clear as you thought you were when you were talking about the program. It's great to have somebody who's familiar with the program read it. It's great to have somebody who's not familiar with the program read it so they can help you make sure you're not diving into the lingo too much. Track changes is a super helpful tool because they can suggest changes as they go and then you can see what changes they've suggested. So anyway, use Microsoft Word and compose that separately from the online form. Now sometimes you can actually write the application itself in Microsoft Word and then you create a PDF version of that and upload it. When you do that, you have free rein to make it look a little bit pretty. Use headers. If you can, use photos. When I'm writing a grant for NYOS Charter School, and especially if it's like a science grant, and I can include a photo of kids doing a science project, that's awesome. Do it if you can. And creating that in Microsoft Word and then saving that as a PDF for upload allows you to do that. When you are writing, always make sure that you are addressing the fit that you have with that funder. Now you've done your research in step 2 and you found those grant opportunities that were a good fit. Talk about that fit. We understand that Foundation XYZ is especially interested in teacher training. Here's the teacher training that we do as part of this program. Like, be explicit about it. What I would suggest is, think of it as putting yourself in their shoes. They have their priorities of what they want to fund. If those were your priorities, what would you want to hear? When I'm talking about NYOS Charter School, often I'm tempted to talk about our educational model, the Marzano High Reliability Schools framework. Not every funder is going to want to hear about that in great detail, though. They may be interested in something else. You want to write it like they want to hear it. You want to sell it to them. When you are writing, don't use language that's too flowery or grandiose. I mean, it's okay to show your excitement about your program, but let your results speak for themselves. Don't say something like, "This is the most fabulous program ever, and it will totally transform the lives of our teenagers forever. They'll never have a program as impactful as this in their whole lives." Like, you can already see the grantor sort of rolling their eyes at that, right? Be professional about it and use the data, use the results to say what you want to say. All right, one last thing I'm going to say about writing. If you're not a good writer, find somebody who is. Now, not everybody has had the training or the experience in writing. And there may be somebody else on staff with you. There may be a volunteer for your organization. It may be time to hire a grant writer who's trained in how to do this stuff. One way or another, if you know that that's not in your strong set of skills, make sure that you're bringing in somebody who is a good writer who can really help you put your best foot forward for that grant application. All right, we've talked about following the directions and some of the tools in Microsoft Word. We've talked about how to write it and make sure you're answering all the questions. In our next video, we're going to talk about the follow-up. You've submitted your application, you've gotten rejected or you've gotten accepted. Either way, there's going to be follow-up. We'll see you then.